Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann, and with me today is...
I go by Steiny, I guess.
Or Other Neil.
Other Neil.
Other
I like
Neil.
that, yeah.
I brought him back today.
Hey.
And since we covered in the previous episode our exes, obviously we are both fathers. And I wanted to have a discussion because lately in my mind has been kind of eating away at me about the ways that being a parent changes you negatively. Not all that,
we're not going to get all sappy.
Soft and gushy. I'm more caring and sensitive. Other people's children cry, and I'm just like, I feel your pain. No, I'm still like, oh, God, come on, let's go. Let's get the fuck out of here, because Crybaby Magoo over here is annoying the shit out of me.
Yeah, I had an incident with that already here today.
With a crying kid?
Yeah. We were up at Chick-fil-A, and a kid just started throwing a temper tantrum, and then like the next line over, and I just kind of looked over and... Yeah, normally I would have kind of laughed or I would have felt sympathy. I was just like, nah, let's get outside, go eat our food.
Sucks to be you.
Yeah. Well, they did have 4 of them, so it was kind of their own fault.
Oh. That is their own fault. Were they all boys?
No, they were 50-50. 2 boys,
Okay.
2 girls.
I thought it might be a guy I went to high school with, because being that Chick-fil-A hates gay marriage and it's a Christian institution, and he's a God-fearing Bible thumper who thought that gay marriage was just insane, and they also have 4 children, because, I mean, you know, birth control's against the Bible.
So I'm assuming they're Catholic?
Very. Very. In fact, I ran into her, and we all went to high school together, by the way. I ran into her at Target one time, and she had... one sitting in the cart, one sitting on the, or 2 sitting on the front, and then 1 underneath, laying like a bag of dog food.
Yep,
I'm like, yeah, I could pull that off.
Yeah.
4 of them, wow. And then she's like, can you believe that tomorrow will be 15 years that we've been together? What do you think my reaction to that was?
Holy crap.
I was just like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
Why would you ever be with somebody for 15 years? Especially since... they lost their virginity to each other, presumably. They started dating when we were like sophomores. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that they didn't ever give anybody else a try.
Oh, guaranteed. You think they even tried anything before marriage, then, if they're that devout? Because that's rare in this day and age, I feel.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're not bad people. They're just very, very devoutly religious.
So they voting Trump?
That's a good question. I don't know. I know that in terms of how children change a person, he put a Facebook post up the other day that almost made me fucking gag at the cheesy sentiment.
Oh.
And I'm never one of those dads. It's like, and I thank God for this moment that she could say that sweet thing that would take me out of this rage I've been in working at the jail. And suddenly, I didn't want to murder the guy in line at Target anymore.
You just don't have those moments, huh?
No, I have those moments where somebody pisses me off and I spend the next 45 minutes thinking of all the ways I'd try to get away with dumping their body somewhere.
That's a little bit more extreme. I think of it on more of a subtle level, you know, like what could I do to just ruin their day? But, you know, I guess there's degrees.
I used to fight a lot as a kid. I got a natural inclination to violence.
Yeah.
I like to hit people.
And having kids hasn't changed you.
No. Adverse effects would be, how about food? Food where you make them something and they don't want it, and then it's left over, and then what do? You
eat it.
You eat it.
Yes.
And you weren't even fucking hungry. Or there's like 8 peas left over, and then you scoop them into your hand, and you're like, I don't even know why I'm doing this.
Right. I think it goes back to when you were a kid and you were always told to clear your plate, you know? That's why I do it. It's like if there's food there, I don't want to waste it. I'm not going to save it, so I just eat it.
I do it because I'm an emotional SOB and I'm eating my feelings.
I find that funny.
And I can't waste food. It's like obsessive compulsivity. I cannot, like, I see people throwing away food and I'm just like, oh my God. And yeah, and then of course you go to the store and every time you go to the store, they're like, let's get a treat. And like, no, you're not getting a fucking treat.
Yeah. My boy was, this was a couple of years back. He's gotten better because it doesn't work anymore. It never really did work, and I think that was part of the reason why he doesn't do it now. But he would always point out something like, oh, can we get this? Can we get this? And every time I would say no, it was a, Have you gotten to that age yet? Where everything, if you let him down, it's just a, or a, Dad. You get the whining phases?
I get the, but, Dad. Oof. Not out of the older one, the younger one. But, Dad.
Okay.
I want it. I want it. And I'm like, put the fucking thing down or I am going to break your ass in half. Yeah.
And of course, you get Parent of the Year when other parents hear you say that to your child.
Yeah, I'm going to spank you or this or that. I don't even care about other people saying shit to me because I feel like I look mean enough that people won't say anything to my face. Maybe to the back of my head, and then I turn around and they realize, uh-oh.
Right. Maybe the kids have it better.
Well, I'll say really fucked up shit to them, too.
To the kids or to the parents?
To the parents. If someone's going to say to me, and it hasn't happened yet, like, you really shouldn't do that. And I would turn around and go, and you really shouldn't try to pester me or bend me to your will with your unsolicited advice about your shitty parenting. You do you, I'll do me, and please fuck off.
Right.
Thanks. But that's the thing is, my mantra is that I'm their father, not their friend. So I'm okay being that way. Like, I have to be strict to a degree so that they respect me, because if I don't, they're going to think of me as a pushover, and they're going to probably walk all over me or try to get one over on me. And that just sucks.
It is interesting. We all have these ideas of how kids should be raised when you have children, right? Everybody has their own sense of, oh, I would never do this, or my parents did this, I don't want to do that when, I'm a parent and all this kind of stuff. But really, so many people raise their kids inappropriately, in the wrong way.
Well, by government standards.
Yeah.
Like as I was saying, they want a treat, and I say no. And 10 minutes later, we're standing in front of Walmart eating a bag of mini donuts.
Right.
At a ratio of 5 to 1.
Your 5 to their 1?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because the one doesn't like anything. The juice is such a picky eater. And she eats like one. She's like, I don't like this. And I'm like, great, more for me. Fuck off. And then the little one has one in her mouth, one in each hand, and tries to grab another one. I'm like, where is it going to go?
Out.
Money. How about money? Remember when you had money for fun stuff?
I think that was 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was last 2010 for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to. That is definitely one way I've changed. I guess, and I don't know if that's always such a negative thing, though. I mean, because it's hard to justify purchases. You know what I mean? It's hard to say, okay, I can buy that video game, or I can go out and take off for the weekend and get a hotel room and go someplace on like a mini vacation. I can't justify that anymore because so many years I had absolutely no money because I was working, paying out so much in child support and going to school. And pretty much since then, I followed on the same spending patterns.
I never used to spend money like that. I would bank as much as I could. So I bought the house. I had a nice down payment so that my monthly mortgage payment is nice and cushy. But now it's just like being able to buy food other than what I need, a few things I want, that's living it up. That's living lavishly.
That's where you go wild, huh? That's
and
lifestyles and the rich and famous there, huh?
I try to fucking teach them the value of $1, but everywhere we go, the juice is like, I want to go to that. I want to do that. I'm like, I fucking told you I don't have an infinite amount of money. I go to work, they pay me, and I have that much money to buy the house, and then food, and the car, and then give mommy the blood money, and then your medical insurance. So the last thing I want to do is buy you more Shopkins. Because fuck Shopkins.
What are Shopkins?
Oh, Jesus, you don't know. You're lucky.
I think mine's old enough.
They're this big.
Okay.
All right, they're about an inch tall. And they're shaped like different products. Shoes, hats, food items, desserts, appliances. And, of course, every series has like 150 of them. And if I ever meet the guy who's the head of the Moose Toy Company, I'm going to punch him in the dick so hard, he will shit his balls.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm glad it sounds, no offense, it sounds like more kind of a girl thing, though.
Kind of. They're in the girl toy aisle.
Yeah.
Boys like them, too, a little bit. But
and that's understandable, but still, it's...
They're just the right size to step on.
Yep. Sounds painful.
And they're not sharp, but god damn does it piss me off.
Roadhouse.
I remember when I used to have energy, like any. I don't have that now because sometimes you get somebody crawling into bed with you.
Oh, yeah. And then you get kicked in the side all night.
Yeah, and you don't fucking sleep.
Yeah.
Or they wake up like 9 times and say, I can't sleep. And then I say brilliant things like, well, I can, so you better figure this shit out, or here's how it's going to go tomorrow. I'm going to be an asshole all day, and we're not going to do anything fun. So, good night.
It's amazing how well your kids respond to that kind of stuff.
They do. Well, I explained it. Tomorrow, I'm going to be crabby, and we're not going to do anything because I'm going to sleep half of it away on the couch. So take your pick. Go to bed now, and we do anything fun, or, be selfish, and then I'm just going to be a monster all day tomorrow.
I'm guessing that shortest tension span, though, doesn't work, because they'll leave you alone. That's what buys you, 5 minutes time? 10 minutes time?
No. Last week, they went to bed.
Nice.
And they were sleeping together in the Juice's room. They do that now. They sleep in the same bed for fun.
Oh.
She's got a bigger bed at her mom's house. And the Chi-Chi's always climbing in the bed with Juice, and they just fucking sleep together. And now they do it here.
Well, I mean, that's kind of cool. They are young sisters, so I mean...
In 5 years, when it's like, get out of my room!
Right? Yeah. This won't last. Yeah.
Well, they already, fight like crazy anyway, so... It's not like it's a peaceful, endearing type of spending time together. They fight for bed space and the covers and over stuffed animals. And the little one is so quick to slapping the big one. Just full cock back slap.
Oh, not to kind of go off tangent, but that was one thing I did notice is that quite different personalities in the two that you have.
Oh my God, it's like night and day. I have Jekyll and Hyde is what I have.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
The little one's just... I was going to call her a beast, but since I called...
The beast?
Yeah.
She's just a brute. Essentially, she's like from Gears of War. She's like a Brumac with a vagina. The big ones visual. That you could ride.
Yep.
Yeah, that's her.
Same temperament and everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Everything's for her, and smash everything around her. And then laugh about it like a maniacal little bitch.
So that's where some of the money goes, is to replace things that she breaks?
No, thankfully she hasn't done really any of that. But, she's just always beating up her sister. And now that I've got the Juice and karate, I'm like, stop saying help me. Use your karate blocks. Lately, because they learned some chops, she's skipping the blocks and going right to the chops. And it's a mixture of the little one laughing about it and then crying because she gets hurt. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck off. Because you had it coming. You need to learn. You're the little one. So this is how it's going to be. Get used to it.
Right.
Maybe you should leave your sister alone.
That's going to be, 16 years? 14 years of this?
I fucking hope not.
Yeah.
They better learn to coexist better. I'm hoping that around, when the little one's 10, the big one will be 12. And although they'll both be going to that really cunty hormonal stage...
Oh, boy, you are going to have a lot of fun.
They're going to figure out, I'm going to say, look, you two can spend the next 8 years killing each other and putting me into an early grave. Or you can calm the fuck down and realize that I could die in a car accident tomorrow and then all you have is each other. Because, your mom's got that other shit rat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Bun in the oven. I'm really good at, laying it out there for them in simple, concise terms that they can grasp onto that paint a colorful picture, and then they respond to it. So I'm hoping that I can do that. So I've got that one in the chamber loaded for when the time comes. All you have is each other.
I thought you were just gonna say you were just gonna put them in a room and see which one walks out first.
Well, I know how that's gonna go. Even if the Juice becomes like a fucking black belt, she's just gonna get out muscled and gas out, and then there will be the Chi-Chi standing victorious, V-bagging her, like you do to people when you kill them in Call of Duty and you duck on their face.
Right? Yep.
It'll
The
be like
V-bag.
that.
Yeah.
How tired are you? Are you like all the time tired? Or are you just like regular tired?
I never feel like I get enough sleep. I never feel well rested in the morning. You know what I mean? I never feel like I'm good to go. Except for maybe on weekends I have off and I get to sleep in or something like that.
Is it amplified on the days when he's with you?
Not really.
No?
No.
They wear me out.
I bet. There are times where he wears me out. You know, like when we're hanging out all weekend long and just doing stuff nonstop. I'm exhausted, but that's good. It's a good exhaustion for me, at least, because it's getting me doing stuff. It's getting me out moving. I see from your side of things, it could just be chasing around two little girls or just constantly dealing with the bickering, the fighting, the drama. I don't get too much of that with a boy who's almost 10.
I feel like at times I'm just staring off with 1,000-yard gaze.
See, the thing, too, is how often do you get stuck watching TV shows or movies or things that you would absolutely never watch?
Not much, because I can work out while she watches something.
Okay.
I can bury my nose in editing when she's watching something.
Perfect.
Or I like to take a couch nap.
I've taken many of those.
Like, all right, the DVD's in. Go to my drawer. Go get me my earplugs. And I put them in. I'm like, let me know if anything comes up.
Right. House is on fire. Let me know.
Yeah. Hour and a half later. Okay, I needed this. But I constantly fucking need that to recharge.
Yeah. Yeah, I've taken many naps since I had a child.
I feel like, you know when you got a cell phone and the battery's like almost dead permanently?
Right. So or the battery's been drained so many times it never fully charges again? Yeah,
it's just always at a trickle.
Yep.
That's where I feel like I'm at all the time. So I need these constant little cat naps to keep me from going off on a rage or passing out.
Yeah, I get really crabby if I don't get the amount of sleep I need, or if I'm kind of running at that same level. So yeah, I become a jackass.
It's what happens. I become mad dad, and then it's not pretty.
Well, you were always mad before, but yeah.
Yeah, I was mad at other people, and it was comical.
Now you're just mad at being tired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I could get like a full night's sleep and just feel awesome. And then in the morning, these two get into something, and I yell for 5 minutes, and I just feel like, just like I've been drained of all of that refreshing, let's face the day mentality is gone. It's like somebody just unplugged Johnny 5.
And you're like, holy crap, I still have 15 hours of this day left to go.
Yes. It's just like, all right, well, fuck today.
Yeah.
Let's just try not to hit either one of them in the face.
Wait for it.
Yeah, it's like my attitude has totally changed. I was dickish, but it was more of like an angry observational humor, almost like Lewis Black.
Oh, well, he's entertaining though.
I was.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like mad all the fucking time. And I sit there and I'm like, why? Why am I always so fucking mad? And then I look at the little one, and then I remember why.
Constant reminder running around your living room.
I say that the juice keeps me feeling young with her sense of imagination and wonderment. Chi-Chi is graying my hair.
Why?
Because she's the boulder in the Temple of Doom, and I'm just trying to outrun it. And I feel like the juice, I guess, is short round.
Right, just kind of egging you along. And
yeah. And just every now and then I expect her to say something about booty traps.
Oh, really?
Even though technically that was Goonies. Same kid. Pretty much played the same character.
Yeah, you can blend them. That's allowed.
So, yeah, I'm fucking meaner now. I'm so much meaner.
Yeah.
Like, I used to hate people, but now, wow. Think about when people are around you. And you're just like, don't you fucking get near my kid, you son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah. That was going to be one point I brought up where it's kind of changed me negatively. I don't want to say I was naive, but I really didn't notice people that much. And now, like, anytime, say we're out to eat or I've got to have my kid do something, where I want to let him have his own autonomy. I want to let him go off and do his own thing. If he's got to go to the bathroom, I don't need to follow him. I don't need to... always be hovering around him if he's in the toy aisles at a store or something like that.
Right.
But I tell you, anybody that goes anywhere near him, or I see looking around, or I see anybody look at him, I instantly get this mode in my mind that I will beat your ass if you even go anywhere near my child.
Well, it's that good protector mindset, and that's a positive, is that you know what's important and how to protect it and what you will do. Like, you pretty much know your limits. Not everything has to become a Van Damme movie.
Well, yeah.
Or I guess Taken.
I will say this. I'm kind of mild-mannered. You know, I did various sports growing up, you know, and I feel pretty confident, but I never felt I was capable of murder until I had a child. Does that sound sane?
That sounds sane. I was going to say I was.
I never thought that I could be pushed that far, and then I imagined scenarios that somebody did something to my child, and I know I had no qualms about wiping somebody off the face of the planet for what they would do to my child if that ever came down to it. I think that's bad.
I found that I think you can quell a lot of other people's curiosity about your children if you just shoot them icy glares the second that they walk up and you don't say shit.
Yeah.
I like that approach, the silent but deadly approach. The other one is I think if it came down to it, I'm comfortable saying to somebody, like, I just want you to know that you've got about 10 seconds to clear out of here, or we're going to make the news.
Yeah.
And then I just start cracking knuckles and looking mean like I do. It usually would work, I would think.
You just give them the eyebrow?
Like, I don't want to alarm you, but you're about to get stabbed in the eyeball with a Ford Fusion key.
Yeah.
Target is the worst place for me now.
What? Aren't there Target moms and things you can look at there?
There would be if I wasn't constantly trying to keep them in line and keep the little one from, like, kicking and hitting on the big one. So I go there.
It sounds like you're just kind of like a ringmaster in a way.
Well, we'll be there, and it'll be, like, silent around the area of the store that we're in. And suddenly, somebody, like, aisles away will just probably hear me go, knock it off! I don't care if people fucking look at me when I do that.
Yeah.
I'd like to think there's people like, wow, good for him. He's not being a pussy and like, oh, honey, we don't do that. You're going to get a timeout.
I can tell you, anybody who's been a parent for any amount of time will completely understand hearing that. You know what I mean? It's those who have never had kids, who just have little kids or, you know, don't really parent their children, that would look at you like you're a bad parent for yelling at them.
Pussies.
Yeah.
And helicopter parents.
Yeah.
But mostly pussies.
It's funny. Latchkey kids are now helicopter parents.
But I've said a few times, like, we were in the air the other day, and I don't know, she kept, like, nudging her with her foot in the cart.
The provoking, yes.
And then, of course, I get the, Dad, make her stop. She keeps kicking me. And I told her to knock it off like 5 times. I just went, I can literally feel my fucking blood pressure rising right now. So if you want to go up north with Grandma and Papa, you better keep your goddamn hands to yourself. Get your shit together. And that was good for about 5 minutes, so we got to the register, and then I had to remind her not to get grabby with stuff over the side of the cart.
Do you find your blood boiling at times from just the slightest provocation from them? As
yes.
you would say from your ex, like, years ago and things like that?
Oh, my God, yes.
Yep.
Yes, it's just like, Jesus. I think to myself, why?
It's amazing.
Why do you do this to me?
It's amazing. Some days I go from 0 to 60 where I'm instantly furious with him. It's like, he didn't even do anything that bad.
Right.
But it's just like everything that is built up.
And then I get, Daddy. And I'm just like, oh my God, can you fucking hold on a second? I'm on the phone.
Right.
Still, just like I was 3 minutes ago, and I asked you to please be a good girl and stay quiet while I was on the phone.
Are you one of those parents, not to get off topic, but do you believe in, say, a swat on the butt or anything like that?
Slap on the hand.
Right.
Swat on the butt. Sometimes you almost have to get down and kind of give them like a little pushback.
Right.
And be like, excuse me, I'm a lot bigger than you are and I make the rules. So you better come to Jesus real quick and remember that I'm 10 times your size and I can shot put you.
My boy, I think I've mentioned this story before, but years ago, I want to say he was only 3 or 4. So I didn't ever really had any cause to spank him before. And his mom has spanked him at this point a couple times. And he goes, you don't ever spank me, Dad. I'm like, well, that's because you don't want me to spank you. He's like, yeah, I do. I want you to give me a spanking. And he was kind of playing around thinking, yeah, I just want to see what it feels like. And I kept telling him, you absolutely do not want me to spank you. You do not want me to spank you. And he just kept pushing it and pushing it. I'm like, okay, I'll give you one and you'll see why. And I hit him and he went stiff as a board. He went so rigid. I don't think he could sit down for a few minutes because of it. And it wasn't out of punishment. It wasn't out of a striking my child moment. It was just that deterrent for the future. I mean, he felt how hard I could hit. And really, as a grown man, they don't really know your limits. They don't know what you can do. And in this way, he got a small sample size of that, and I have never had any cause to spank him again.
Well, you're lucky.
That's not to say that I haven't reached over, grabbed his shirt like a hockey fight and pulled him in close and given him the business, from 2 inches away from his face.
Right.
About what he should and should not be doing. But luckily, I haven't had to do much spanking, ever.
Well,
any spanking.
That's the thing is, I get the big one that's like, I want you to spank me. Spank my butt. She thinks it's a fucking weird game.
That's weird.
I almost never spank her.
Okay.
I always end up giving it to the little one because she's the one who acts up. And then the worst part is she's a bully, and then I spank her, and then she cries. Or I have some restraint, and I don't spank her. I just grab her by the arm and pull her close, and I'm just in her ear. I'm like, I swear to God, if you don't knock it off, you are going to get such a spanking. And then I let go.
See, and I don't remember getting spanked a lot as a kid, but my mom did that a few times to me, would do exactly what you just said, or kind of like what I said with my boy, just kind of, twist his shirt up and bring him in close. And that, to me, was way more fearful than the actual punishment of getting hit.
Oh, you know what?
It was that threat hanging over your head that it could be really bad.
Another thing I used to do, and it still works sometimes, I will stop dead in my tracks and just stare at her.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't know what's coming.
Exactly.
And then I will do this. I'll go and point at the ground next to me. And now she comes like a fucking dog.
Well, you're kind of doing a snapping and pointing. It's kind of a dog training type motion.
Well, it works.
For now.
She'll run like way the fuck ahead of me in the store. I'll stop. I'll let her see how far ahead of me she'll get. And then she'll turn around, be like, Judy! And I'll be like, just shaking my head no. And just start pointing at the ground. I'll just go, too far. That's all it takes.
No, I've asked, kind of the level of how you discipline your children. Have you ever been in public and been restrained because you were in public where you did not discipline your children the way you wanted to? No?
I've spanked them in public. I don't fucking care.
This was about 3 months ago. We were actually doing the Heart Walk downtown Minneapolis there. My Goyle friend had this work thing going on where they got a bunch of people together and they decided to walk.
As a group?
As a group, yep. So we signed up, decided to join them. Well, Saturday morning, my boy was on a tear. Met everybody, got along with everybody, and then next thing you know, once we started walking, he wanted to be a quarter mile ahead of everybody, which, was cool to a point until he starts going around a few corners and I can't see him anymore and we're in downtown Minneapolis. That's not cool. So I really wanted to give him some business when I caught up to him, but I found myself just talking to him through clenched teeth because there were so many people around. Well, and I kept trying to call for him and he wouldn't hear me. He couldn't hear me and come back. So that's just infuriating me even more.
You know what you should try?
Shot collar?
No. Get a whistle. Like one of those ring ones that the hockey refs wear.
Oh, yeah.
So that, they never have to worry about grabbing it to blowing it because it's always right fucking
there. In
there.
The finger, yeah.
Just get one of those.
Just train my child with a whistle.
Yeah, don't get like an old rape whistle you find at your parents' house. They have a very distinct tone.
Why would my parents have a rape whistle?
Your mom doesn't have a rape whistle?
No. She carried mace, though, in her purse when she worked downtown.
Well, my mom never had mace, and I don't think too many people would be quick to rape a woman like her. So she had a rape whistle at home on top of the microwave.
I don't think I'd even recognize the sound of a rape whistle. Is it just a loud,
It sounds
shrill?
more like the old London Bobby whistle.
I was just picturing that. Okay.
The whistle we know is like the kind you hear at a
real loud,
sports
shrill.
game.
Yeah, not with the little ball.
But a rape whistle, yeah, it's more of like an instrumental high note.
It's supposed to be ear piercing and
Yeah, it's supposed to be jarring to the environment around you, and everybody stops and goes, oh my God, what the fuck is that?
it's a rape.
And then you hear someone go, help, he's trying to rape me. And then the guy's like, shh, I'm almost done.
Oh, bitch.
So, yeah, Target to me is like Chernobyl.
You dread every time you go there, then.
Yes.
You have to go there.
And trudging through the store when I'm already tired and in a bad mood, and I know they're going to want to look at everything. And I let them just to kind of calm them down. But going there when you're tired, I imagine it's somewhat comparable to the Bataan Death March, if you remember that, from the Pacific Theater of World War II.
Yep.
They marched like something like 65,000 fucking prisoners, popping them off, taking turns with their swords, practicing their Bushido skills, seeing if they could take a head off.
Yep.
So the whole time, you're moving and trying to get done with the task, knowing that something's about to pop off at any second, and just waiting for it and hoping it's not you. But then it's me, because Chi-Chi.
Yeah. So when is it going to blow? When is it going to happen?
Usually about the time we get to the halfway through the grocery portion.
Okay.
Blue Door, movies, video games, toys. All right, let's go get what we came here for. Walk across the store, getting a little bitchy, whining, pick me up. No, you said you wanted to walk. Fuck off. I didn't get a cart. And then we get over to the groceries, and then that's it. It's over. It has gotten to DEFCON 4, and now I must be mad dad and grit my teeth and say mean shit and tell you you're going to get spanked, and at worst case scenario, grab your arm and pull you over my knee. Maybe spank you, maybe leave it at the knee. Like, do you want this, or are you going to calm down? I'm going to be a good girl. Which, it's weird that you can still be angry with a cute voice like that.
Right. Yeah.
And she says her R's like W, so it amplifies the cuteness. It's almost like you're stuck in a Disney movie and you're about to physically assault some small animal character.
Right, like the little rabbit from Bambi or something like that. Thumper.
Well, yeah, like I grab her by the arm, and she knows she's going over the knee, which, by the way, if you're going to spank your children, brace them. You don't want to just grab their arm and swat their butt, because they might snap their head back and get whiplash, because you might be angry and not know your strength when you're coming in hot, full swing. Prop them up against your body and give them like one good swat, and you're good.
You don't want to undercut their whole lower half of their body and drop them to the floor.
And then it becomes more animated because they bend back and then they fall down when you let go of them, and then now any hope of disciplining them and then getting away with it in the store without a massive fucking scene is gone.
Right.
Someone's pulled your covers.
I wonder if we'll get to the point where if somebody disciplines their child in public, where they'll bring assault charges against them.
I fucking hope not. That's ridiculous.
It seems like, though, that that might be the way. I mean, you think about it. We let family members get away with way more abuse than anybody else would. You know, if some random guy came up and hit you in the arm, you know, that'd be grounds for calling the cops. But a brother or sister does it to you, well, you're just perfectly allowed to hit them right back. It's all allowed. I just think it's interesting how we do have separate rules when it comes to domestic issues.
I always worry that someone's going to see me just give a spanking, and it's going to escalate. I don't want to be the next parent in the news like, and he spanked his child in the store. Right. And strangers immediately came to the child's aid. I know it sounds like I enjoy hitting my children, but I don't. I wish that I wasn't this angry. I'm tackling this topic because it's like, look what I've become. I didn't think that I would be one of these parents that's so quick to strike.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also employ the mantra, spare the rod, spoil the child. So, in reality, I'm okay with hitting them because I know that eventually if I do it and then I explain to them why it happened, maybe it'll change their thought processes and they'll act out shitty less. But no, I don't take joy in striking them. There's been times I'm like, God, I've really been spanking her a lot lately. I got to figure something else out. One thing I learned about children when I first had them, because I read the books. I know I've been focusing on like just being a dick.
Sure.
But in terms of parenting psychology, they always, say take a second and breathe. Analyze the situation. Mm-hmm. Don't be quick to anger, and definitely don't spank when you're angry, because that's when it can become abuse. So I really have to focus on my words before it gets to a swat of the hand. I think I can get away with a swat of the hand and it won't escalate to more. I'm not going to do that once I'm like, all right, and then just punch her in the face. Be like, well, sorry, I got a taste of it, and the rage took over.
Right.
But yeah, they say don't spank when you're angry. Well, here's the ironic thing. You're spanking them because you're upset about something they did.
Right, they're misbehaving.
So I have to take a time out?
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, there are so many things you can do wrong as a parent nowadays, apparently.
Everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Because what do you like? Oh my God. Oh, you better hope that counting to 10 calms me down. Because if I get to 10 and you're still here and I'm still upset, then it's going to be spanking time. Because I will have had ample amount of opportunity to consider the outcome of physical punishment. Look at all that chicanery I just had to go through.
Right?
Now just come here.
Well, just about those 10 seconds, too, that you have to sit there and count down. What more are they going to be doing in those 10 seconds to further get your blood boiling?
Not much because they're little, but God knows when they're teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I'm considering here. You know, this whole conversation may take on a different light in a few years for me once mine hits the teen years.
Yeah,
but
I
I can imagine there's going to be a whole other level of frustration that's going to come from that.
He's a boy, though.
Yeah, true.
You just leave him in his room with his tablet.
Right, yeah.
And then he's either doing his homework or masturbating.
Yeah. My buddy has a son who is 13 going on 14 here at the end of October. And his mom now is finding evidence of that. And I'm like, gosh, I hope I don't run into that evidence. I hope my boy's good enough like I was growing up to hide that. All evidence of masturbating.
Tissues,
Yeah.
socks, the occasional
Socks.
older T-shirt with weird sudden yellowing protein stains coming out of the wash.
It was nice because my mom, when I was in 6th grade, so about 12 years old, she taught me how to do my own laundry. She said, you're of an age that you should do this of your own. So I think she had a fear or a hint that this might be coming soon.
I had a fear that you were just going to say she taught you how to masturbate properly and do it responsibly for the people around you. Like, here's the deal. These dish towels are my good dish towels.
Right.
This drawer, very bottom, these are old washcloths. Wipe up all the jizz you want, but just don't let me catch you doing it or leave them out where I can see them.
Right.
Because sometimes I smell things to see if they're clean or dirty, and I don't want your spuzz right by my face. My eye might get pregnant.
Ew.
Yeah. I think Mom kind of knew. She kind of knew.
Just suddenly in your room, a bottle of lotion and a box of tissue show up on your desk that
Right.
you didn't put there.
Oh, right. Is she
Oh,
wanting me to
Mom.
masturbate?
Oh, there's cookies.
Oh,
All right, well,
She
time
wants
to
me
touch myself.
practice safe sex, huh?
Yeah, and then you didn't come out of your room for 6 years.
Right. Well, once you find the pleasures of your own body, it is hard to come outside again.
Thank God we don't have T-Rex arms.
Oh,
Oh, jeez. I wonder where we'd be as a race if we did, though. If we just have, like, shorter arms and we had to adapt to doing things differently. But, like, you couldn't get down there and, like, tug on your own dick. You wouldn't be distracted with, oh, my God, I'm so horny. I gotta take care of this.
Right.
Hang on. Everybody hang on. The day's going nowhere if I don't. Some days are like that.
yeah. There's the boredom masturbation.
Well, I'm not thinking of boredom. I'm thinking of sudden horny urge that I need to
Oh,
alleviate so I can get on with my day. I'm never just like, God, what the there's nothing to do. All right. Well,
And every guy understands
Back to
this, and I
this.
can only imagine women just go, what the hell? But there are times where it's just the slightest image, the slightest thought, and you're like, ooh, I'm going to go jerk one off.
you brush against something by mistake.
Exactly.
Like, oh,
It
God,
doesn't
I
take
want to
much.
do that again.
No.
But she'll probably call the cops.
Yeah.
In that scenario, I'm walking past somebody in a very
In
crowded
Target?
JCPenney on Black Friday. And, like, a butt cheek brushes against the crotch of my pants. I'm like, oh, pardon me, ma'am.
Right.
And then, like, 10 feet away from there, I'm like, huh, how about that? Wasn't horny, wasn't thinking about sex.
Now it's all I can think about.
Suddenly, I want to just slap my boner on her butt cheek a few times and see where that gets me. Just whap, 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 whap.
Oh, Black Friday, right?
Well,
'Tis the season to give.
so you talked about your view of others, and it's worse for me, I think, because of what I do for a living.
Yeah.
Like, I already think, as I've said in episode 7, which was called An Iron Maiden of Random Dicks, check it out, I said that basically, in my eyes, every other man in the rest of the world that isn't me or their grandfather is pretty much out there looking to stab them in the innocence.
Yeah.
You're suspect of everybody. Like, what are you going to do? Maybe that other kid's going to hit your kid.
Yeah.
Maybe that dirty old man's got his hand in his pocket and he's watching your kids.
That's the creepy part.
And I work with kid touchers, and it's like, maybe that guy who's really nice and understanding to kids, when you're in line at the store and they're acting up and he says something that you're just like, oh, thank God that guy said something and calm the situation. Maybe he's thinking how badly he wants to fuck them in the mouth.
And that's exactly what goes through my mind. Not the effing in the mouth, but just the fact that he's having thoughts about my child, or he's maybe inappropriate.
I worry about, like, if my kid, like, bumps into somebody who's having a bad day like I do, if someone might be quick to anger. You don't think it's going to happen. It's a very extreme, rare case when something like that happens, where a stranger lashes out at your kid.
Right. Or lashes out at you because of something your kid did. I've had that before.
I haven't yet.
Like, oh, you should be watching your kid type of thing, like, or, be a parent. It's like, wait a minute, I was 10 feet away. It's parenting. My kid just did something. They do that. They're kids.
It helps to have a witty retort.
Yeah.
And look mean.
See,
I rely so much on my
that.
looking mean.
Yeah, you do. I don't have that. I don't have that awesome eyebrow thing going on. I don't have the closely shaved head or whatnot to really intimidate people.
It helps that it looks like I'm a white supremacist that's about to go on a rampage. And I'm not, by the way. I'm not. Despite what my feelings about Black Lives Matter may suggest about me. Our folks had it easy because we grew up in the 80s. And nobody...
And they used to say that about the 60s compared to the 80s. I think that's funny too. But
nobody was calling the cops if you spanked your kid in the 80s. We could go down the block to the park without there being calls to CPS.
That we weren't parenting our children, yes.
Yeah, I mean, back then they could say, all right, you're swearing at the TV because of Nintendo? Shut it off, you're done.
Yeah.
Well, now everything's a screen.
Yeah. Well, they're swearing everywhere. I've noticed that the amount of language, well, even you with your children, but I mean, just in general, the amount of language on TV is way more than when we were children, too.
Nobody's called me out on that yet in public. I'm waiting for that more than my anger. Is somebody like, you shouldn't talk like that to your children. And I'm going to be like, you shouldn't fucking waste my time with your pussy-ass opinion because these are my children, and they actually know that only I get to say those words.
That's what I was going to get at. You know what I mean? I made that very clear to my boy at a young age, that there are adult words, and those are only used by adults. And once you become an adult, you can use those words. Now, granted, 12, 13, or maybe even now in 4th grade, he's probably saying them on the playground, and I don't know about it. But for the most part, my kid never swears around me.
I've had the little one a couple of times say stuff, and I think just twice I've ever had to say something to the juice. One time where she finished my sentence. I was playing Xbox, and I got mad, and for the 7th time in a row, I just went, what the? And I caught myself, and she goes, fuck. And she was 2.5, and I'm like, what? I'm like, no, you can't say that word. That's when we had to start saying, what, the Ninja Turtles?
Oh, boy.
There was a time when I used to try to come up with other words that weren't swear words.
Right. No, yeah, I think every parent goes through that.
I got sick of sounding like a dope.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just going to swear. And the little one will be like, what word did you say? Can I say that word? Because only once did I say something, and she'll say it back. Now she asks if she can say it.
Oh, okay.
One time in the car, I'm just like, motherfucker. And then I got the, motherfucker? She was saying it, questioning it, like, what is this?
That? Right? I know the first part of that word.
I'm like, you can't say that. I told, that's funny. I said to her that she can't swear. You can't say the F words now. She's like, when I'm big, I can say the F words. I'm like, when you are big, you can say all the F words all the time, as much as you want. But people might think you're an idiot if you do it constantly. Right. But I'm like, but no, when you're an adult, you can say all the F words you want. And then there was the day that she said to my mom, she's like, Grandma, Daddy says when I'm older, I can say all the F words. My mom's like, what?
Right? I was going to say, how did that go
No,
with
he
Grandma?
didn't. I'm like, actually, Linda, I told her that the F word is an adult word and that she can't say it now, but when she's a grown-up, she can say it because it's for adults. So she seems to be responding. I feel like if I speak to them like adults, I'm respecting their intelligence. It'll help better develop their vocabulary. And they'll also have a respect for the part of language that they're not allowed to use. If you don't swear as a parent and you only do it occasionally, then the kids hear it and they giggle and it's more taboo, and I feel like it's more tempting for them.
Right.
And yeah, it might make me sound uneducated, and I can turn it off like a light switch if I have to. I have to try to completely eliminate it from my vocabulary. But like at work, I can't just openly swear, or else I might get a talking to, even though we're all adults.
So that was what was interesting, is my last job, I could swear all I wanted to. I mean, as long as it wasn't in a customer's home. You know what I mean? But we were constantly filthy. And that actually led to me being a little bit probably more loose with my language around my son than in the past. But that, again, like you said, playing video games, there's sometimes you just get so frustrated and you find yourself swearing at the TV and you look over and you're like, oh, that's not good.
Has he sworn yet?
Oh, I guarantee he has. But he hasn't really ever done it in my presence.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
So you think
but I'm sure he knows all the
mom's?
colorful words. I don't know. I could see Mom washing his mouth out with soap. I mean, she's kind of old school like that, where she'll use... Oh, no, what she did... Okay, it wasn't the with soap thing. She's of Mexican descent, and what her grandma used to do to her was take jalapeno peppers, the seeds, and place them on their tongue when they would say naughty words, bad words. A couple times when he was younger, she did that, and yeah, that's pretty effective, I guess, because that burns like a mother, especially when you're a kid.
They're not fun.
So
hadn't thought of that. I was going to say, when you were going to come up with some tactic for her, and I was thinking this is going to be because of the Latina in her.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's some derivative of it, yes.
That fiery temper she's got.
Yeah. Well, she also played into it more than it really ever was.
I try not to be like, hey, I'm Italian, so deal with it.
Yeah.
Because that just sounds shitty. And then I'm attaching a stigma and reaffirming a stereotype of a certain group of people. Like, those Italians with their bad necklaces and their tempers, and they're trying to rub their wieners on everything. Which is not true. I never wear necklaces.
Right? See, I've never seen you wear one, so...
There was a stage. If you paid attention to that, I glazed over the rubbing my wiener on everything for comedic effect. Years ago, when I dated, her mom would say, oh, God, he's Italian? You don't want to date an Italian. They're lazy and bad in bed. And my response was, that's bullshit. I am not lazy.
Right?
And then she got why I was making a funny there.
It's pretty good.
Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find the show on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/What Do We Call It? Podcast Show. For the What Do We Call It? Podcast, I'm Jmann.
I'm Mother Neil.
And that's the end.